Alright, we're headed north on Marigold Drive. On the left, that's the Barclay Conservation Area, and just through the trees and down the hill is the Niangua River, with the majority of the Barclay Conservation Area on the other side of the river. So very nearby the property. In fact, to get there from the property, you just go upriver, I don't know, a few hundred yards, and then you're at the Barclay, and that's about 400 acres of conservation land, public land that you can use for, I believe, hunting and recreation, and excellent river access point there. In fact, if you want to do a really fun little short float, you can put in your canoe or kayak at the access at the conservation area and float right down to your property. It's probably about a 30-minute float. Really cool. Okay. So we're closing in on the property here. As we get close, you'll see on the left, this is a pretty good landmark. This old garage or cabin or whatnot, part of the original homestead up here. And we're going to go down this hill and we'll see the property on the left. This is tract 7 at Riverside at the Niangua, direct frontage on the Niangua River. Quite a bit of frontage. And the southeast side directly borders Marigold Drive. Beautiful property. A little bit overcast today, but that's okay. It's still a good enough day to get out and take some videos. I drove out of Springfield, and it takes us generally about an hour and a half to get to the property, maybe a little less, from Springfield, Missouri. St. Louis would be to the northeast, probably, I don't know, a little over 2 hours. Okay, we're just crossing under the power line, and we're about to see the property on the left. Like I said, it's got direct frontage on Marigold. And as we pull up here, you can actually see the survey stakes. That's the property on the left. Let's see if I can read my map and see how much frontage. This map is really tiny. Looks like about 70 feet of frontage on Marigold, and then it widens out as you go to the northwest toward the river. So by the time you get to the river, it's at its widest point. This blue gate, which is the start of the easement road to the tracks at Riverside at the Niangua, that happens to be on the actual property itself. There's the beautiful open meadow there. Okay. See if I can remember the code. When you come to check out the property, just let us know. We'll be happy to give you the code for the gate. There we go. So I just opened the gate and we're about to pull through here. I sure wish the sun would have come out today, but that's okay. We'll take what we can get. At least it's not raining on us. Okay, so we've got this gorgeous meadow area here, and I've got the MapRight app open on my iPad, so I know right where we are. And I'm just going to kind of drive, I guess, northwesterly on the property, and we'll check it out. It immediately gets wider as you get into the meadow. So you do have options for building sites. You got a setback from the easement road, of course, but the setback from the side boundaries is minimal. I believe it's like 5 feet. So I mean, you've got a lot of usable space when you get into this meadow area. If this were sunny with blue skies, this would kind of be a whole different feel. But at least you can get a look at what it's all about. Wider here. We've got, looks like a couple lone trees out here and some old logs. These tracts were logged within the last 1 to 2 years. Certainly not clear cut, but the larger commercial timber was harvested. There's a nice patch of timber back here. And actually, we've got some equipment back here. I guess the guys have been using tract 7 to store some of the equipment. Track loader not included. So now we're looking back toward the road. You can see the fence posts marking the boundary. And this is just gorgeous back here. Actually, I didn't realize how nice this was. There's a slight incline as you come into that meadow. You get up here and it's the hill is kind of crested, and now it's slightly declining. So, I mean, talk about maximum privacy. I'm gonna pull in a little further, and then we'll hop out and have a look. We try to keep these videos short, but there is a lot to see on this tract. A lot to see. Okay. Tract 7, by the way, is 10.1 acres in size, so it's a big property. Oh, this is awesome. Wow. I really didn't realize. I thought this was just raw meadow all the way back to the tree line, but we've got a little buffer strip right here where we can't see that county road or any of that. So if I were to build back here, I would leave that buffer strip. I would probably clean up some of this area, and you would have a very private building site back here. You can check the MapRight app if you want to measure the width, but well, we saw the one boundary over by the track loader. And the northerly boundary is way, way, way over here. There you go. About 50 feet in front of me is the northerly boundary. So you've got a huge area over here to use, and it gets wider as we get down to the river as well. But this is one really nice potential building site here. A lot of different timber, mostly hardwood. You'll see some cedar and maybe some pine as well. All right, now we're back up where we had parked the truck. And here's the track loader being stored here. The guys probably put it here because this is private. Generally, the equipment gets stored out of sight in a private area, and Tract 7 really seemed to fit the bill for that. So now I think what we'll do is we'll drive down and check out the bottom field and the river. So still on the property. In fact, there's the boundary over that way. Now we're going to cut back toward the county road. Really pretty area on the property. I'm impressed by that. Actually, we're going to, just for a minute, go off the boundary, go off the property, and then back on again as we come around to this other side. Okay, great. So gorgeous open meadow here. I mean, this would be suitable for horses, or for a really nice yard or a garden possibly. There's a sign in that tree that says Tract 7. I didn't even notice that. What we're going to do is we're going to go back to this easement road, and then we'll head down the hill to check out the bottom meadow area and the river itself. Okay. And you can check out the listing to see all the different maps that show the road easements and whatnot. There's a power line there, and that goes down the hill, and the power line easement also runs with the roadways. It's wider than the roadways, but so power is available to different areas here. So we've obviously gone off the property now. We're going to go down the hill and then cut back to the north to get back to the property. So you're certainly more than welcome to clear your own private trail on the property that goes down to the north area, to the bottom area or whatnot. But you don't have to if you don't want to, because you have access on the existing gravel road system already. So that's pretty handy. As with any gravel roads or easement roads, you're always better off in a truck or an SUV. Even if it's not four-wheel drive, at least you have more clearance than you would in a normal car. So that can be handy on an easement road. Okay, so now we're down at the bottom, and there'll be a Y in the road, and we're going to go right. So we're going to cut back to the north. And that's what's going to take us back to the property. There's the power line again. This bottom area, this meadow and all that, this is just gorgeous. I love it down here. Just looks like I don't know, some kind of natural wonderland. And I'm gonna keep an eye on my MapRight app so that I can tell when we get to the property. Now, if you look across, that's that campground that we saw up above. So at the end of the meadow would be the Niangua River, and then on the other side is that gravel bar and that campground. Okay, we're getting closer. Very pretty. On the weekends in the summertime, there'll be a lot of activity on the different campgrounds and whatnot. During the week itself, not nearly as much. And in the off season, you'll just see some fishermen and a few floaters on the river. But in the summertime, it does get super popular. Okay, now MapRight says we're about to cross onto the property, and there's a survey marker right there, actually. So now we're back on tract 7. It's on both sides of the road easement. There apparently is a pile of logs on the property. I don't know if those are spoken for or not. So if you look closely on the other side of the log pile, you can see some more fence posts. I'll try to center them in about the middle of the video. There's one there, one back at the tree line. So that's one property line. Goes right to the river. And I don't, unfortunately, this map doesn't have the widths of the varying spots on the property, but you can check MapRight for that. It's got a measurement function. I know that once we get to the river, it's got about 390 feet of frontage on the river, which is pretty amazing. So on the right, that's that hill that leads up to the flat area where we were, where the track loader was parked. Comes down here, and then meadow area all the way to the river. Looks like you've got one row of trees going through, which is probably an old fence row. Here's a culvert. You'll see these stakes here probably. That's because this culvert was just put in, and the guys wanted to make all the other equipment aware of that. So those aren't boundary stakes. But as we get past the culvert, here on the right, for instance, there's a boundary stake. So we've got a couple options. Actually, let's see here. Well, I mean, you've got a substantial amount of land over there that goes off at a little bit of an angle. And then on the other side here, that's the same deal. So basically that whole line of trees, that old fence row is all on the property. And we're going to stay on the south side of that and head toward the water here. This bottom meadow is gorgeous. I mean, if you want to have horses down here, it's fantastic. This obviously would be within what they call the flood zone, so certainly would not be the place you want to build. But for horses or for a garden or for other activities, I mean, that whole campground over there is located in a flood zone. So it's not like it's not usable land. It definitely is usable land. Okay, I don't see, a lot of times the guys mow a little trail to the river here. I don't see that on this side. So I'm wondering if maybe they did it on the other side. We're going to go to the other side of that fence row and check that out. Oh, the river is just beyond those little trees. They're little shrubs, though. Maybe we will go that way. I wasn't too prepared for this video, apparently. Okay. Alrighty, so we're about to walk to the river that's looking back on the property toward the lower easement road, and then you can see the hillside where we just were. So ideally we'd have a nice little mowed trail out here, but there's just not right now. Feel free to bring your weed whacker or whatever you like. I can see the river just on through this grass. Yeah, it's beautiful. There we go. There's actually some people over there camping at the campground. This looks like a bit of a drop off here, so I'm going to be careful as I get up toward the edge of this grass. There's the Niangua River, obviously. And it is a bit of a drop, but it's not super steep. Now, like I said, this has a huge amount of river frontage. And what people generally do on a riverfront track is they pick what they want to do for their river access, and then that's where you do some clearing of the grass and the shrubs and whatnot. This is actually pretty nice right here. So we could walk down to the river that way. This is a tremendous amount of river frontage. See, those people are paying big bucks just to come camp here for a few days at that campground. The fishing is spectacular. I'm not going to try to walk all of the frontage because there's a lot of it. But check out the drone video where we'll do a flyover and try to get some good pictures that way. Looks like an old deer trail that I'm following, or a new deer trail, I guess. Another overlook point at the water. So I saw a couple spots where we could get right down to the water. But like I said, I really haven't explored this property, and it looks like the guys haven't really been out here either, or there'd be some kind of mowed trail going right down to the water. That's the interesting thing about these unusual tracts with so much river frontage. When you have a standard property that only has, 30 or 40 or 50 feet of frontage, it's like, well, that's where your access has to be, so that's where you put the river access. On this property, where you have literally probably a dozen different access points, it can be hard to decide which one you like best. I see deer beds everywhere in this tall grass. They just love it down here. There goes a fawn. I wasn't trying to scare you, buddy. He scared me. There was a fawn asleep or hiding right there. I'm gonna step it up and try to get out of here so his mom doesn't wonder what's going on. I'm sure his mom is watching me from not too far away. But let's grab a quick look at some more of the river here. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh man. The Niangua River. You can fish for trout right here. Rainbow trout and brown trout. Looks like just a little further down we've got a gravel bar. I heard a fish jump just now. I mean, this is unreal. That's why you see these campgrounds out here. There's one there, there's one downriver, there's one or two upriver. I mean, it's because this is unbelievably beautiful. And the fishing and the floating and the swimming. And just look at that river. Once in a lifetime property. Check out InstantAcres.com to see if this is available. You can call us in the office or you can email us at sales@InstantAcres.com.